The Capital One Venture X credit card has a substantial annual fee coming in at $395, and I've now held it for 1 full year. And before I pay that almost $400 annual fee again, I need to make sure that I'm getting enough value out of my card to keep it open. And so I'll break down everything you need to know about the Venture X so that while I'm figuring out if this card is worth it for me, you can do the same while you're watching. So let's get started off with that hefty $395 annual fee. With the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you have a $550 annual fee, and with the American Express Platinum card, that one is $695. Not only is it great that the annual fee of the Venture X is lower than the other premium travel cards out there, but you can also get free additional card holders that you do not get with the Sapphire Reserve and the AMEX Platinum. With the Sapphire Reserve, that's coming in at $75 for an authorized user, and with the Amex Platinum, $195 every year. So yes, the Venture X credit card is somewhat expensive, but if you're somebody that generally likes to avoid paying high annual fees, this card can still be great for you. And one of those things that makes this card so special are the credits that come with it. There's 4 specific things that I want to highlight in this credit section, starting with the $300 annual travel credits. Every card member year, starting from when you get approved for this card, you will get $300 to use in the Capital One travel portal. So this means booking things like hotels, flights, or car rentals. You can do this from the Capital One travel website. And when you are going to make a purchase, you just go ahead and select the option to use the $300 travel credit. How I used mine in the first year of card membership, I booked a flight for my wife and I to come home when we were in New York after we were coming back from Europe. We couldn't find a good ticket coming all the way back from Europe to our home airport, and so we booked it in 2 segments, one with points and miles coming from Europe to New York, and then from New York to our home, we booked the flight in cash because it was just about $150 for each ticket. And so for me and my wife, we used up that $300 Capital One travel credit, and that was it. This is such an easy credit to use if you travel 1 to 2 times a year, or if you travel way more than 1 to 2 times a year. Of course, I would like it more if I could just use this on any travel purchase. I didn't have to go through the Capital One travel portal in order to use up this credit, but overall I like the Capital One travel portal. It looks pretty nice, it's easy to use the website, and so to get this $300 travel credit, that is pretty easy, and I think most people can use this, especially most people that hold this card. Now up next, we are going to talk about the 10,000 anniversary miles that you're going to get starting with your first card member anniversary. So you will not get this in the first year of holding this card because you're getting a massive welcome bonus when you first get approved for the card. That welcome bonus is typically 75,000 Capital One miles when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of holding this card. So 75,000 Capital One miles in the first year, and then every year after that, when you hold this card, you get 10,000 bonus anniversary miles. You will receive these 10,000 bonus miles about 13 months after you got approved for the card. So for me, that just hit my account on November 12th, and I got approved for the card in October of last year. According to the Capital One website, these 10,000 bonus anniversary miles are equal to $100 when used for travel. Let's break that calculation down a little bit further. So if you want to cash out your Capital One miles, I would not recommend you do this. You will get a points valuation of 0.5 cents per point. So 10,000 Capital One miles would equal $50 worth of value. Please don't cash out your Capital One miles. There's a better way. How you get $100 of value is you can use them for travel in the Capital One travel portal. So 10,000 miles would equal 1 cent per point worth of value and then equal $100. Or you could also use the cover travel purchases feature where you can pay with your Venture X on any travel purchase worldwide, and then you can go in to the Capital One website, click on cover travel purchases, and then you can basically erase that purchase from your statement by using your Capital One miles. There's also a way to get more than $100 worth of value out of 10,000 Capital One miles, and that would be transferring them out to travel partners. Capital One partners with airlines and hotels, and you can go onto the Capital One website once you're signed in, and you can transfer out your Capital One miles to many different programs. Some of my favorite partners include Air Canada Aeroplan, Avianca Life Miles, British Airways, Flying Blue, and Virgin Red. These are all pretty solid transfer partners, and if you know exactly what you're doing, you can get way more than $100 worth of value out of 10,000 Capital One miles. A lot of people would say the standard that you could get for Capital One miles might be around 2 cents per point. So that would equal $200 worth of value from 10,000 miles. It all just depends on what you are redeeming your points and miles for. I would say please do your research before transferring out your Capital One miles to partners so that you know that you're getting a good value. I haven't used my bonus anniversary miles yet because that just hit my account a few days ago, but when I do decide to use them, I'll either go the transfer partner route, or at the very least I will cover travel purchases, and then I'll get 1 cent per point for my Capital One miles. And just looking at this bonus anniversary miles and the $300 travel credit, you can see right there that that's already a value of $400 you're getting from this card. And this card right here is only $395 to pay every single year. That's pretty crazy that only with 2 benefits right there you could make up that annual fee. But we'll still go a little bit deeper because there is the $120 global entry and TSA PreCheck credit. And this one, you can use this card, the Venture X, and go onto the US government website and either pay for global entry or TSA PreCheck and get that fully covered with this card. TSA PreCheck allows you to get expedited airport security when you're traveling domestically within the US, and global entry will help you save a ton of time at the airport when you are returning from an international destination, because you're able to skip the customs line and go into your own dedicated global entry line, and that usually takes less than 15 seconds and you're through immigration. If you travel at least once or twice a year internationally, then I would recommend getting global entry, because this also comes with TSA PreCheck. So you can get both of them for just paying one fee, and you're not actually paying for it because you will get reimbursed with the Venture X, because that covers this perk. I absolutely love global entry, and I cannot say enough good things about TSA PreCheck. And the last thing I'll cover in this credit section are the lounges. You're going to have access to Capital One lounges, Priority Pass lounges, and Plaza Premium lounges. With just these $395 annual fee, you have access to so many airport lounges all around the world. Let's mostly focus on the Capital One lounges because that's what's unique with the Venture X. You can go to 3 open locations right now for lounges. We have Denver in Colorado, Dallas-Fort Worth in Texas, and IAD Washington, D.C. Dulles Airport. And there's also a Capital One landing that is in the DCA Airport in Washington, D.C. I don't know too much about the Capital One landing because that just opened up, but I know the Capital One lounges are fantastic. I've been to the one in Denver, and then I most recently, last week, visited the Dallas-Fort Worth Capital One lounge for the first time, and I absolutely loved it. My wife Jenny even told me that after going to a ton of Centurion lounges all across the US and now recently going to Capital One lounges, she's now said that the Capital One lounges are her new favorite. These lounges are where you can get food, drinks, and a quiet space away from the rest of the airport, all for $0 because that's already baked into the $395 annual fee that you already paid. Now that we're done with talking about the credits, you may already see that the Venture X is a fantastic card to hold, even though you have to pay almost $400 every year to keep it open. But you have to remember this is a credit card, so there's still spending categories where you can earn Capital One miles. So you can earn 10 times miles on hotels and car rentals through the Capital One travel portal. You can earn 5 times miles on flights and vacation rentals, also booked through the Capital One travel portal. You can also earn 2 times miles on every other purchase. And then at a different section on the website, it says you can earn 5 times miles on Capital One entertainment purchases through the end of the year in 2025. I really do enjoy these spending categories. Obviously, it would be great if you wouldn't have to go through the Capital One travel portal in order to earn 10 times miles or 5 times miles in these categories. But I do think that the Venture X makes up for that because it earns you 2 times miles on every other purchase. So if I don't know which credit card is going to earn me the most amount of rewards, I find myself always taking out the Venture X credit card and using that to pay for a bunch of my purchases, whether domestically or internationally, because I know I'm going to be earning a good amount of miles for my everyday spend. And then there are other benefits with this card too. Just a couple of them that the Capital One website highlights are the free additional card holders that we already talked about in this video. That perk is fantastic. There's also no foreign transaction fees, so that is a perk that I would expect from a premium travel credit card. So I'll definitely take that. I'm happy that this card has it. And then there's also cell phone protection, which I haven't dug into too much in my research, but I do know that that is a great perk to use. And then there's the miles redemption that I talked about with the transfer partners to airlines and hotels. You can find some really good value there. So who is this card for? Number one, I would say this is for travelers, but not necessarily people that travel all the time. Of course, this card can be great for those people, but it can also be great for people that only travel 1, 2, 3 times a year. This card could still be worth it because of the $300 travel credit, the 10,000 bonus anniversary miles, and then the occasional uses of the Capital One lounges or Priority Pass lounges. And while we're talking about the lounges, this card can be great for people that live in an area where their home airport has a Capital One lounge, or if you're somebody that is frequently connecting through the airports that have Capital One lounges. So if you're constantly flying through Denver, well, you could pick up the Venture X, and while you're sitting in the airport waiting for your next flight, you can just hang out at the Capital One lounge. And this card is also fantastic if you have other Capital One credit cards that earn either miles or cash back. I haven't talked about it in this video at all, but just really quickly, you can move over your Capital One cashback rewards into Venture Miles just by going through a specific feature of the Capital One website. You can move over, let's say, your Savor rewards cash and then move them over to Capital One Miles. I've done this before myself, and it was an easy transfer of cashback to miles. And then you can use them for either covering travel purchases, or you can use them for airline and hotel partners. So for me, this was kind of an easy decision on my part. I decided that my wife and I love the Capital One Venture X and the Capital One lounges, and so we decided to renew this card for another year based on what we have to pay for that annual fee and then all the stuff that we get for the perks and benefits by holding this card. And so we're keeping this card for another year just because we think it's so fantastic. And if you want to check out this card and maybe apply for it, I do have a referral link in the description that'll help support the channel if you decide to use that link. And also, if you want to learn more about a Capital One credit card, you can watch this video where I talked about the Capital One Savor card. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.